what's the relationship between Zen, the Intergalactic Ninja, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Oh yeah, there's quite a relationship. So in the mid to late 1980s, and the first issue of Zen came out in November of 1987, that period in the comic book industry was known as the quote-unquote black and white explosion, okay? And the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pretty much precipitated that entire movement. And it was created in New England just as Zen was. So Dan and I work on creating the first issue of Zen for about a year and a half. The writing goes fast, the art is laborious and time-consuming. And Dan did the entire book in full airbrushed color. This is when there was no computer airbrushing. I'm talking an actual airbrush. And the interior of that book was completely in full color. Okay, so we're getting ready to release the book, and we go to the local printer, and we find out that it's quite costly to publish the book in color, okay? However, it's not expensive to print the book in black and white. And this made preeminent sense because we were in the midst of the quote-unquote black and white explosion. So this first issue of Zen, even though it was produced in full color, was printed and published in black and white, okay? And it became a bit of a phenomenon for us, at least, if not for comic book readers, because we got very good orders for the book from the preeminent distributor, which is called Diamond Distribution. And there's still that pretty much to this day. All these many, many decades later, we got about 3,500 orders, which we thought was phenomenal, right? We had no idea. We thought maybe we'd get 100 or something, right? And that kicked off, what we could kind of call the mini industry that Zen became.
You said 3,500 copies was the first sale? And of course, this was pre-internet. You said in the mid-'80s.
Yeah.
With your advertising background, did you have a hand in having that amount, that 3,500?
Well, not in the 3,500, but in what happened immediately thereafter, and I'll tell you what that is. So as I mentioned, I owned an advertising agency. Part and parcel of that is being a member of an organization that to this day I'm still a member of. It's called PR Newswire. PR Newswire electronically distributes press releases to all the media, thousands of media points, small newspapers, large newspapers, television, radio, magazines, et cetera, right? And it's a service that companies from, Fortune 500 companies on down use. If you want to get your message out and you want like the editors at the New York Times, the LA Times, Variety, Hollywood Reporter, et cetera, to take notice, it's a paid service, right? So I would be doing this for my clients, right? So I say to myself, okay, so the book gets about 3,500 orders, which is very good. So I say to myself, why don't I utilize my skill in advertising to promote Zen, my comic book? Now, you've seen the cover of Zen, and there was a prose book out around that time, maybe a little earlier, called Communion by an author named Whitley Strieber. Okay. It became a movie. I think Christopher Walken played Strieber. The book was ostensibly about Strieber being like abducted by aliens. Okay. And so it was presented as a true story, right? Which you can believe or not believe depending upon your orientation to things of this nature. But the cover of Communion And the cover of Zen, kind of looks similar. There's this big alien head there. But on Communion, the alien was gray and Zen's blue. Okay, so I decide that I'm going to put out a press release on PR Newswire about my comic book, okay? Even back in that day, I think it cost about $1,200 to put that out. But I had a good feeling about it, as they say, right? So I put out this press release, and the hook, when you have a press release, you need like a hook. In the industry, they call it a USP, like a selling principle, okay? The hook was this. Superman, one of the preeminent comic book characters, he's an alien. He's from the planet Krypton, right? And other than the fact that he's kind of like got blue hair, he looks human. He looks like a human, right? So the hook of the article is, hey, here's a new comic book hero who's also an alien, but looks like and really is an alien, unlike Superman. All right, so when you put out a press release, you never know who's going to pick it up. Okay, you just put it out in the ether, okay, and then you see who's going to pick it up. So about 2 weeks later, one of my business associates calls me, says, Steve, go down to the newsstand and pick up USA Today. I go, the entertainment section of USA Today is called the Life section. So I'm going through the paper, and right there, smack on the front page of the Life section is that cover and the story of Zen. USA Today, the largest selling paper, I think to this day, believe it or not, in the US. The very next day, everything happened. Licensing agents came at me, reporters came at me. Everybody just sparked to the fact that, wow, there's this cool, blue-skinned, alien comic book hero who looks like an alien. And had I not done that, I can guarantee you I would not be sitting here with you today.
And again, pre-internet, and so this was a reporter or a journalist who had picked up the sort of through the PR Newswire and decided to run with the story.
Yeah.
And did they even call you for comment?
No.
Or no? Wow.
No. It came as a total surprise. Like I said, a business associate just said, you better go get this paper now.
And so then these people found you wouldn't have had email then.
No.
So they sent it through, how did they get in touch with you? Agent or the distribution? Sorry, the distribution.
I'm not really sure how people found me, but they sure as heck did.
Wow.
They sure as heck did, right? There was no phone number or anything like that. But they may have reached out to the people at USA Today. I mean, ultimately, Zen was, in the New York Post. He was in Variety, Hollywood, on and on and on. It was just right thing at the right time, serendipity, luck. In life, you need these things if you're going to succeed to one extent or another. And I was fortunate, very fortunate.
Thank you for watching the video all the way to the end. Here is a complimentary question from our book Story Questions.